his teammate.
That's Gary Gate again with the ball. He plays the full length of the field, and this field, incidentally, is the full dimensions allowed in lacrosse, Tom. 110 yards long, 60 yards wide.
Almost like a Canadian football league field.
That ball bounced right off of Petramala. He did that so effectively yesterday against Carolina. You've got to shoot it around him. He will not only play tough defense against you, he'll block the shot, saving Kesnick the problem.
Gary Gate got it back for Syracuse. Out in front to Paul Gate. He winds up and scores. Paul Gate is Syracuse a 2-1 lead.
This is the matchup I was really afraid for Hopkins because, again, Gary Gate's getting the attention. Paul Gate, there's not much difference between Paul and Gary. Gary just gets the press because of the alley-oop shot last year, the air gate shot. Here he is wide open. Look at the soft defense on him. Dwan tries to slide over way too late. And when you've got the shot with the velocity of a Paul Gate, Tom, you don't have to come in and get right on top of the goalie. You just crank up. You've got the full 36 square feet. You pick your corner, and he made it work.
Burns credited him with a nice assist on that goal.
How can you play against or defend two first-team All-Americans right there playing at the same time, along with Marichek and Zilberti on the offense?
The Gate brothers were very matter-of-fact in interviews after the game against the University of Maryland. They had great games, and they said, well, we expect to have great games. Players.
Another reason I wanted Paul to have a big day today was because in the first matchup this year, Tom, Gary had 3 goals. Paul was scoreless first game, and I'm sure in his own quiet way he's going to make up for it. He already has 2 goals.
The ball awarded to the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins as we take a look at the replay of the faceoff. A trip call maybe against Syracuse?
Well, I'm looking for a push from behind, which is normally the case. And maybe a trip, like you said right there. Paul Gate in there tripping up.
So Hopkins trailing 2-1. This is Jeff Heim with the ball.
And this is McCabe, the great defenseman. He's a lot like Petramala. Watch him, 29 for Syracuse. He's a ball stripper. He'll take that ball right away from his player if he can.
Wilkins. Back and forth it goes between Wilkins and Brendan Kelly. Kelly, the team captain. Number 32 tries to get around his man. He's got his stick up around the neck and still gets the shot away. We're going to have a penalty.
Well, he held him up there. You can see he got out of position. Kelly beat him. So rather than give it up, Scaramizimo, watch this. Rather than give it up, he got a step on him. Kelly gets a step, so he's not going to give it up. Scaramizimo is right there, and he's going to hold him all the way, knowing that he'd rather have the extra man penalty than give him a good shot on goal that close. Extra man in the first game this year, Tom. 5 chances for Hopkins. They did not score on any of the 5. Syracuse will take the chances here rather than give him an open shot in front of Palin.
So Steve Scaramuzino goes to the penalty box area. And the extra man attack for Hopkins, trailing 2-1. National championship game of college lacrosse here on ESPN. Brendan Kelly thinks better of it. Gives back to John Sheehan. They're working it around and a score! The number 23, Mike Morrissey, tied at 2.
Morrissey's been a real sensational lift for this offense. Yesterday against Carolina, he had a big day, and he really has a good left-handed shot, something that was not evident in the first game of the season. Let's take a look. All the room, the cushion they give him on the one side. He's got such a high shot now and confidence after being a freshman all year. He'll take that shot, something they didn't show in the first game, I'm sure, against Roy Simmons. And Palin goes down a little unsettled. That's a stop that on a hot day when Palin's going to make. Morrissey got the better of him there.
You can see maybe a little bit different philosophy how they approach this championship game. In the day before the game, the practice sessions by both teams, Syracuse was out here for about an hour. Johns Hopkins was out here almost the entire 2 hours allotted to it in a hot sun.
Procedure penalty, the ball will go to Hopkins, and that hurts. Again, ball control is what they need to do. If the score 2-2, you're right, Tom. The philosophy is for Roy Simmons, he doesn't do much special. He's got a team that's really well-versed on what they do offensively. He rolls the ball out there and says, go get them, guys.
So a 2-2 score with 8:55 left in the first quarter. Hopkins with the ball. Great action so far. Brendan Kelly tries to get around Scaramuzino again. Behind the net, Dressel trying to pass it out in front for a quick shot from the slot area. Unsuccessful. Ball loose at the center of the turf, and Hopkins comes up with it.
I thought they got a trip call there, but they didn't pick it up. Hopkins now controls. Hopkins really, I'm sorry, Tom, Hopkins really eats you up on opportunities. If you give them an inch, they'll take it. And Syracuse, with their wide-open style, will give you the chances, and nobody takes advantage of more than Hopkins.
Bill Schluter forcing the ball off the stick of John Wilkins, and Palom ends up with it for Syracuse. Gets it up to Schluter.
They might see a shot here. They won't hesitate.
Schluter with that long stick gets it back. And dropping it is Greg Burns. He lost control of it himself. To Gate. Gary Gate.
And it's a great situation for Syracuse. Normally transition, this is where they like to pump one at the goalie when he's unsettled.
Zolberti to Paul Gate, and Gate couldn't control the pass from Zolberti, and a whistle.
In the crease against Paul.
Well, 7:52 left in the first quarter. Our score, Syracuse 2, Johns Hopkins 2. Back with more in just a moment.
It's ever so tough being ranked #1 and not being rank. Playing the game without getting gamey. What assists me is Right Guard Sports Stick from Gillette with its maximum protection and aromatically airy scents. It's the essence of good gamesmanship. After all, when one is capable of home runs, why play foul? Right Guard Sports Stick and antiperspirant. Anything less, civilized.
When the sun goes down, the surf's up on ESPN hot summer nights. Hot summer nights means water sports action with a twist every Saturday night beginning at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Welcome back to the stadium in College Park, Maryland. Tom Meese with Lee Elsmo. And Lee, anything surprised you yet so far in this game?
No, pretty much according to Hoyle. This is what the Cards would say would happen so far. Up-tempo when it gets the chance for Syracuse, and Hopkins taking their time, picking their spots, and being effective. You bet they worked on that extra man that was totally ineffective in the first game, Tom, because right now they're 1 for 1.
Greg Kelly with it on the right wing. Goes behind the net. This is Jeff Heim. Nice kick. Heim comes around. Wants to take a shot. He's double teamed. Gets it outside. Adam Wright, who shot it. Came up with it for the moment. Ball is kept in bounds, and Syracuse has it in the person of Schluter. Schluter being bothered from behind by Resin Pollock, still controlled. Nice job by Schluter. Now it's bumped out. And can Hopkins control it? Yes. Number 9, Jamie McGee up with it.
Mistake by drifting to some problem areas there. He should have gotten rid of that ball when he got over midfield.
Long pass upfield it goes. And this is number 33, Greg Kelly. The shot goes out of bounds. It'll remain Hopkins' ball.
Well, Kelly's mad at himself because you won't get that many open shots. He had an open shot. McCabe tried to slide over and just take up a little bit of an area to make him shoot early, but he had his shot, and he missed the 6x6.
Well, they say any shot on goal is a good shot, but if it's not on goal...
Now watch the room they give him. He's got a cushion. McCabe just comes in there and tries to play 2 people, and the shot was wide to the right. He wanted that left pipe. He was well off.
Shot is a score for Johns Hopkins. Matt Panetta. He came around and just almost like a basketball player taking a whip shot, rode up on his defender, got some leverage, and fired it home.
Normally when you shoot from this high, the goalie's got to make the save because you can't shoot but in one area. Watch him go against Stoper. He'll go away from Stoper, go high, and that's where Palem has to assume he's going to go high with the ball. He can't go low with the ball because he's shooting from an elevated position. You got to hang that one on Palem. He should have come up off his toes a little more and snuffed that ball out.
The first of this lacrosse match for Johns Hopkins in this game, and Coach Zimmerman very animated on the sideline.
Palem a little bit rocky here. A lot of shots going in on him, and the defense has to help him out. They did in that case. Stoper again driving Panetta up and out the air, and Palem has to come up a little bit higher and harder.
Hopkins won the championship 2 years ago. Last year, Hopkins did not make the Final Four for the only time this decade. Last year, of course, Syracuse won the title at the Carrier Dome against Cornell.
Tom, 5 in a row, face-off-wise. 5 out of 6 for Hopkins, and they are on a roll with ball control.
Adam Wright sprints up the left wing. He checks, so he'll get it back to Resin Pollock, and he'll sit up.
The other thing that happens with ball control against a thoroughbred team like Syracuse is that it frustrates you, especially when you start getting behind a little bit. You want to do it all now. You want to run now, and you start getting out of sync.
Resin Pollock bothered a bit in there by Dan Lannon, and Syracuse gets the loose ball. With it is Dan Cahey. Cahey double team, gets away from it smartly.
Cahey, junior from New York, 6 feet 193. He made a sensational play to come in there and break up that pass when it initially went to his player. and he's being aggressive. That's what Roy likes to see. He really doesn't change too much as far as philosophy. He wants to run and gun, open up the Jets. Now, let's go back to another big stat for the game, Tom. Shots. First game against Hopkins this year, Hopkins outshot him 50-33. Simmons wants about 55 shots against this team in order to win.
Bonacci with it now, has an angle, then has it disappear on him, gets it back to Earl Hall.
Stay safe.
You can hear Kessick maybe calling out the signal.
He'll control that defense. They're playing defense just like you are there. With your back to the goal, he'll tell you where you are.
Hall with a shot, Kessick down and makes the save. Low shot by Hall, Kessick the save, and here comes Billy Dwan, who played very well against North Carolina.
He's having a great year. That was the second midfield in. The Gates were taking a rest, and that's why a guy like Hall gets a chance from out front. They're cutting off Silberti.
Vine gets by McCabe. Vine closes in. An open net goal for John Dressel.
Matt Palem gambled, came out and tried to slide and knock him down, and the pass came very weakly, but he knew he was going to get his clock cleaned and just dropped it out. Watch Vine. He knows he's going to get his clock cleaned. He just dribbles it out in front. Dressel picks it up. Nobody in the net. That's that gambling, frustrated style of Syracuse when they get behind. They want the ball. Palem lost that battle. And again, Hopkins, you give them a little bit of a crack like that. You make a small mistake, and they will eat you up. They take advantage of all mistakes.
Roy Simmons Jr. has called a timeout for the defending champions from Syracuse. The underdogs, Johns Hopkins 4, Syracuse 2. Back with more in the first quarter in a moment. The Syracuse Orangemen, unaccustomed to trailing, although it's very, very early in this lacrosse game. Johns Hopkins leading at 4-2. Joe Rosenthal did a great job in the face-off stuff.
This guy is the unsung hero of the Hopkins team. Hopkins just does all the fundamentals right. They do for every year they play the game. And he is a big example of what they do to make the full team work to the one goal of winning.
Still no control on this face-off. Petramala has his long stick in there trying to get it for Johns Hopkins. Still no control. Finally, still no control. And coming up with it is Matt Panetta for Johns Hopkins. And now Syracuse has it. This is Gate. This is Gary Gate.
In transition, that's where he likes to be.
This is Paul Gate coming down the slot to score for Paul Gate. Grayson Pollock stood there, couldn't do anything about it.
Paul Gate has the same explosion on his shot that Gary does. That's his third goal of the game. And the only difference here against other games is that he's getting the opportunities. They're watching Gary. Gary brings his ball down, gets all the attention, comes back to Paul. No attention to him, and he rifles a shot in. He's having a great start. 3 goals. Again, nothing in the first matchup of the year from Paul Gate, Tom. He's looking to make amends on that. He's holding his team in close.
From Brentwood Bay, British Columbia, the Gate brothers. And for those of you who may not know, lacrosse is actually the formal game of Canada. Hockey may be the most popular from coast to coast in that country, but lacrosse is Canada's national game.
The Gates were really surprised when they found out that the United States had teams on the East Coast playing the game. They thought they were special.
Paul Gates' pass intended for Marichek goes out of bounds. It'll be a turnover to Johns Hopkins.
Checked out by Jamie McNeil. He did a nice job checking the stick of Marichek as he came across the crease. There's Paul Gate. Right now the score, Hopkins 4, Paul Gate 3. He's doing a whale of a job keeping his team in the game.
And you can bet that Gary Gate will get on the scoreboard more than once before the day is over.
And don't forget Tom Marichek, who is second in goals on the team. And then, of course, Silberti, who leads the team in points.
Kessick with it for Johns Hopkins. Hopkins has done a nice job, as you pointed out, Leif, before the game. They'll take advantage of every single mistake. They may not be the flashiest team in the world, but you just can't make any mistakes against them.
Well, I think you get many people arguing with the fact that Syracuse has the better people. A little bit faster, a little bit stronger, a little bit quicker, a little deeper on the bench. But that doesn't matter. Hopkins will play you tooth and nail and not make mistakes. It's a team game. Nobody plays it better than Hopkins.
Some pressure against the goaltender, Kessick, so he takes off with it. This is Quint Kessick.
They got a 4-on-3. They'll have to slide.
He may take the shot. No, he uses it to Dressel. Dressel to Panetta. Panetta! Oh, just wide. Oh, the crowd loves it when the goalie takes off.
Well, he did the right thing. They gave him the opening, and now they went all the way down, 4-on flag on the play, and maybe offsides. We'll see. No, they're waving it off, I believe.
Yeah, the official said he just dropped the flag. No penalty.
Came down 4-on-3 as we look at Roy Simmons. He's a little bit concerned, but not much. I'll tell you what, no team can score in streaks or has proven that they can score in streaks with the explosive character of Syracuse. If you're within a goal or two, they can make that up in about 60 seconds. John Desko, he played in the 79 game down here at Maryland. He's the assistant coach, and what a great coach he is. That's a team, Roy Simmons and John Desko, that's been together for a long time.
I'm trying to get through the Syracuse double team. Does so momentarily. Now can't control. Ball bounces out. It'll be taken by Brian Lukács.
And the slide came from way out in front.